Welcome back out, guys. Once again, back on the Deathtrap. Today, we're working on oiling system.
Barkley belt, burning steel and fuel, turning rust to power, that's the golden rule. Barkley belt, we're tearing down the line, full throttle, hearts in overdrive.
I bought a scavenge pump because, of course, the oil drain is completely impeded by the fact that it's mounted too low and there's a giant transmission in the way. And then I also bought a catch can to try and use a scavenge oil tank. Well, that's not going to work. So I got thinking I could build it out of exhaust pipe, all kinds of stuff. I started thinking about sizing. And then I went through the kitchen department at Canadian Tire and I found a stainless steel utensil crock. That looks roughly the size I want, somewhere between 1 and 2 liters. I got a handful of pipe thread and ORB ANJIC fittings. Most of them are used, so we'll clean those. I got a pair of Amazon stainless steel float switches, and I got an adjustable timer. So when the float switch closes, it will trigger the timer. The timer will go on for however long I set it. And the scavenge pump will pump, and it will drain the oil out of the bottom of my tank I'm about to build back into the valve cover on the engine. That's the theory. I also have an Amazon turbo oil drain kit. It was like 20 bucks. Came with a whole bunch of fittings that don't really fit properly in my turbo, but we're going to modify some stuff. And a chunk of hose and some drain fittings. So in the spirit of scavenging old junk and making it work, I have a 8 AN to 10 AN adapter. Well, it's actually JIC. It's the same. So we'll call it 10 AN. I'm going to drill a hole through the side and weld that there, and that will be my oil feed in. I have a number 8 that I will cut down, drill a hole in the bottom, weld it to the bottom for out to the pump. I have a 1/2 inch pipe bung that I will cut in half, drill a hole in the side, weld it to the side to mount my float. And then I have some scrap iron. I will put a lid on the top with a baffle at the inlet. And I think we'll repurpose this breather for a breather on top of the tank so it doesn't pressurize and we don't have oil drain issues on the turbo, causing oil burn issues and causing premature failure of our Chinese turbo that's not going to last very long anyway. So with that said, let's get after taking some of this scrap on the bench and making our stainless steel kitchen utensil crock into a vital engine component. And Clarky's back with us today. He's mostly just supervising, making sure that Dad does the job correctly. And if I don't, he's going to tattle to Mom, so I guess I better do a good job. So after a little bit of cutting and grinding, I have made a round plate that, well, it's close enough to round, and it kind of fits the top of the tank. I've taken an old piece of scrap angle iron, cut it to length, cleaned it up. Plan is we'll weld that right onto this top plate, and then it'll sit down in. The inlet incoming oil will hit this and drop down so it doesn't interfere with the float and it doesn't aerate the oil. I took one of these 1/2 inch female unions and I cut it in half and then ground that piece down to make a weldable 1/2 inch pipe bushing for into the side of my tank. It kind of impedes the float a little bit. I'm just going to check if the float still functions with a multimeter. If not, I'll have to shorten it a little more. So I'll quick check this and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've just got it sitting in the vise. I will set my multimeter to continuity, resistance. We'll check. No beep. Beep. No beep. Beep. So even though the float can't quite drop as much as normal, it doesn't seem to bother it. And this is just threaded in by hand, so should work just fine like that. And if anything, that just means I can mount this a little lower in my tank, therefore making it only a 1 liter tank, not a 1.5 liter tank before the pump kicks in. Not a big deal, but now that we've got this figured out, let's start by maybe drilling some holes in our tank. And we got a hole to drill in our top cover, as well as welding in our baffle. So after last weekend's welding fiasco, we're going to try and be smarter about this. I have fully cleaned off everything on these pieces of metal with the belt sander and a buffing wheel on the grinder. Then I wiped it all down with lacquer thinner, and then I wiped it all down with some acetone. So I'm hoping there's no impurities. I'm also doing mild steel to mild steel, so I'm just using mild steel filler here. And theoretically, mild steel welds much easier. It doesn't like to disappear on a guy. I will be welding mild steel to stainless, and for that I have ER309L filler rod. I got 3 pieces of it, hopefully that's enough. Apparently that's what you're supposed to use when you put stainless steel to mild steel, but just as a little warm up, I'm going to try doing a little bit of mild steel tigging here, and we'll see if we are better or worse than last week. So I'll get this tacked, and then we'll see what we can do. So my initial plan was to TIG weld the mild steel to mild steel, but it was going horribly, so I MIG welded it, and it still doesn't look great. But I'll clean that up, and I'll be the only guy who knows about that. Then I figured, okay, let's start fresh. I got a fresh tungsten, I cleaned it up, I grabbed my 309 filler rod, and I cleaned everything with lacquer thinner and acetone. And this came out way nicer, but I think I should have buffed the stainless with a buffing disc first. So that's what I did here. And I've cleaned that with acetone. And I've cleaned my chunk of bushing here with acetone as well. So let's see if this wants to work. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a good thing that the camera battery died, because that was not going good. I thought it was going good at first, and then I blew a hole, and I chased the hole, and chased the hole, and chased the hole. And then I got fed up, I pulled out the MIG, and I sealed the hole up. But now it's bad. Real bad. But I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good it looks, as long as it seals, hopefully. So I have one more port to weld in this, and then I have to weld the cap on. And yeah, hopefully it goes better than that mess. This, not terrible. I think that was just down to cleanliness. That, nightmare. Never want to have to deal with that again. Funny, I would call this at least the same thickness as that exhaust pipe, and I didn't have near these many issues with that exhaust pipe, so I don't know. We shall see, I guess. I'm kind of glad I got somewhere to be now, because after that debacle of the welding, I need to take a break, I need to walk away, I need to come back, clean everything up, and try this again tomorrow. Alright, it is now Sunday, and I have calmed down from the mess that was yesterday. And we're going to give this another attempt, and try to be patient, and see how far we get. Because the fact of the matter is, once I get this fitting welded on, I have to weld the lid on, and that's quite a bit of welding. And then I want to pull the valve cover, drill a hole, and try bolting or welding in an aluminum bung, and that's going to be the fun part. Now I know you guys are never going to believe this, but that didn't go well either, and I pulled out the MIG gun and finished it. I didn't let it get quite as bad as I did yesterday, so fingers crossed I can figure this one out. If I could just only fusion weld everything, life would be so much nicer. This is so much easier. You know, that is the first welding I've done all weekend with the TIG that I'm actually happy with. And one of only 2 welds I haven't had to resort to the MIG welder for. So I'm honestly exceedingly happy with that result. So we'll let it cool off. I'll find some caps and we will see if it wants to hold water or see if all my welds leak profusely. Probably the second part. Well, now that everything has been welded, I have the probes of my meter precision attached to my level sensor. I marked my level sensor before I put it in so I know where the float should be hanging correctly. Now it's time to put some water in. Yes, this is water. This was my initial idea for my scavenge tank, but it ended up being a little too big for the application. So, well, that float should be up. So maybe I broke my float. Maybe I don't have a good connection. I think we had a poor connection. There we go. The float works. You just got to make sure the wires actually touch when you tape them together. So there we have 3/4 of a tank, 2/3 of a tank full of water. I'm going to leave this sit for a bit and we'll see if this leaks here or the bottom leaks. So there was a few pinholes and I chased and chased, but it has exceeded my skill level. Pretty much everything I MIG welded had a leak. What I TIG welded completely seems to be fine. Opposite of what I figured would happen, but yeah, I've applied an excessive amount of JB Weld to everything now, and we're just gonna let that sit for a week and think about what it's done wrong. So if you guys take anything from any of my videos, remember this. Just because the job exceeds your skill level or you don't know how to do it, I did this. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's gonna work for what I need to do. And I made it out of just random stuff. You don't have to be a professional to be able to do these little jobs. And I think I've shown that. You can't be worse than me, so try it. You may be the best welder you've ever seen, and you just don't know until you try. And worst case scenario, you put on a bunch of JB Weld, and if that doesn't work, you get a friend to help you build it. Okay, fast forward a couple days. I have let my JB Weld cure, and now we're going to get to mounting this monstrosity. So once again, back to the scrap pile. I cut this off the end of this. This is what's left over from when we made the mounts for the intercooler. I drilled a couple holes. Then I took the other half of it, held them together, drilled that out too so it matches. So this will be my in-car bracket, and this will be my bracket for on top of the tank. So I'm just going to tack that onto the mild steel top, which means I can use the MIG welder. I don't have to use the TIG. We don't have to have all these problems, hopefully. So I'll get this tacked on top. We'll set this inside the car, and we'll kind of figure out what we need to cut this piece to and how we're going to weld it in there. So it's in there with that bracket. I'm just going to weld the bracket at the far end, tack it in the middle. Should be good, and then I can weld the top bracket to the top of the tank and start plumbing the lines, which means figuring out my breather, doing my drain line straight from the turbo, and then mounting my scavenge pump somewhere around right there. So it's basically gravity fed, and then I'll have to figure out my outline, pull the valve cover off, and weld the fitting into the valve cover. So we pulled the ECM out, and of course pulled the turbo out, and yeah, we got that bracket welded in there. I welded a little bit here, welded that end of the bracket. It's pretty bloody sturdy now. So now I'll quick pop this tank back off, and I will weld this bracket on fully. I'm so happy with the job I've done here that I'm going to do something I haven't done at all on this car. Rust prevention. At least it's weld-through primer, so when an actual talented person has to fix this in the future, you know, it's less work for them maybe. I have here another piece of plate that I cut off of another random mounting bracket from something. And this hole will work for mounting this to the subframe. So I'm going to drill 4 holes in this little piece, and then I will bolt the pump to it, and we will bolt this to the subframe, and then this is done. Here we have it. The scavenge tank is mounted. Look, I even painted the top of that because, you know, we'd hate for the mild steel to rust. The real reason I painted it was to hide the ugly welts, but anyway, it's mounted. The scavenge pump is mounted, and I did check, and it is in the correct orientation for the flow, so we're good. The only other thing I'll have to do is to run the lower line, run the line up to the turbo, and then line back to the valve cover, and a whole bunch of wiring. And then the scavenge side of the oiling system is dialed. Thanks for sticking around on this one, guys. I know it was pretty boring, as was probably the last video, but that's just how it is when you're doing a whole bunch of fabrication work. It's not a lot of exciting stuff. I mean, we're not starting the car, we're not doing the first run yet, but it's all essential things to make it last. In the next video, we're doing wastegate and turbo things. I also have a whole box of cold side piping, so we might get going on that, but you're gonna have to tune in next week to find out.